Hey everyone, welcome in. My name is John. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io, which is an open source website that will help you learn to code and land your next programming role. You can join the Discord for free right here, sign up for free, and have access to the evidence-based blog that will help you land interviews quicker, pass them with more proficiency, negotiate a better offer, and so on. There's also some AI tools so you can chat besides using the blog. Okay, today, pretty easygoing stream. We are blogging. We are writing an article on debugging. So this will be a new article on the blog, and this is a work in progress. Here is the state of the pull request. So we're just going to go through these resources, extract the insights, and convert them to a single source of truth in the blog article instead of the current state where they're sort of scattered around. Ways. And so even when you talk to I'm expecting vidIQ to give me traffic over time for this. How long should I thought the widget pops up here. That's okay. Is that not true for lives? Let me see. Maybe it's only true for regular videos. Any person in your social network. Oh, there needs to be. Oh, yeah, here it is. This thing over here. I'm expecting that on the lives. I guess it doesn't show on the live videos. Today I learned. How long? Oh, it's like a clicking thing. You have to click into it in a certain way. That's interesting. Cool, so I've had some more views recently that may have been just related to streaming. I did change the title here and I added this YouTube video description related to this Claude conversation. So previously the YouTube video didn't have a description, now it does. I don't know if that contributed or if that's sort of unrelated. CSS tricks, we don't need it. This and this are the same, we can close that. This and this are also the same, close one more tab. Okay, talking about the 12-factor app. I think I got this reference in, let's see. Bug prevention. Prevention is the best medicine. Techniques to prevent bugs include use types, use tests, verification alongside feature requirements. Cool. Documentation is helpful. Documentation is more remediative though. Okay, I think this is pretty good. All right, so we're on the remediation step. Good, good, good. I guess I don't really need these anymore. If you have an issue with the way that Google SGQ, ending in the URL string SGQ. So these are the same. Okay. So we have the SGQ. What is this other 52M? Yeah, this is much older. And I think it's linked from here. Okay. So I don't think we need an additional reference. I think it's sort of contained in this video. All right, so the 52M is out. What's this? Search strategies. Okay. Want to make sure we got these. Keyword search, AI search. I changed the recommended order of these, so AI first is what I recommend now. Generative search using an AI tool. This might include sending text or images to a tool like Cursor, Composer, or ChatGPT. Good. So generative search, reference code, and I even put reference code above keyword search now. Yep. So if I'm in my IDE, I can go do some quick grepping in my code base, or look up a GitHub if I have one. Official documentation, third-party sources, reference code, guess and check, ask a friend, group, Discord. Yep. Okay. So I think that we have captured the intent of that short video. Okay, what about this one?
Can you show us advanced?
All right, so this one, I don't know if we've captured this yet. So I'll hang on to this. Is this laws of vibe coding? Can you please cover the bugging? This is just debugging tips. Okay, so we'll hold this open.
Can you show us advanced techniques for using the debugger?
Debugging techniques. Oh, I don't have my fundamental laws of vibe coding. That's an important one. I don't know if it's going to show up. Yeah, I don't know what the caption is. Let's go to TikTok. It's been trending, so if I go to my likes, it's going to be here. I might have to like text it to myself. This one. 7 fundamental. Okay, 7 fundamental laws of vibe coding. Cool. Yeah, it's nowhere referenced here. Okay. "11 debugging techniques." So I'm just showing you how to get to the other video, right? Okay. Search techniques, I already covered those. So I think this is effectively covered now. Yeah. Okay. All right, so 1198 is taken care of. All right. So we'll resume here in AI-driven debugging tips and vibe coding remediation. So I'm going to go through this once and then watch the video. I'm going to try to give it a little bit of fresh eyes now, and then whatever was missed from the video. Latterly.io recommends AI-driven development. Latterly.io recommends AI-driven development and AI-driven debugging. The process outlined in this section will promote even higher performance for autonomous AI tools. I don't need that word. For AI tools, humans with AI assistance, and it will expedite detection and remediation of issues sometimes produced by AI code generators. I don't need to say sometimes. Okay. All right. So we want to protect production from AI. Good. Always put a human between AI and production. Good. So this is basically the fundamental laws of vibe coding. Use Claude. No, the real rule here is to use recommended using the cursor in agent mode. Or the more general rule is use a competent AI tool. Okay, so we can refer to the Limsys leaderboard. for arena score, and then we also want to look at coding evaluations in particular. And this is how they stylize it, capital LM arena. Chatbot arena. I want to look at the code evaluations for code evaluation, like LLM code evaluations. OpenAI evals. I thought that LM Arena already had this. Break it down by particular evaluations. Oh, overall, okay. You can also, you can select the coding category to get models ranked by performance and coding tasks. Cursor is built, Cursor's agent is built to be particularly compatible with Claude Sonnet. I guess I can leave this out. I thought I had a reference for this, but I am not seeing it. Human eval, coding benchmark, okay? Papers with code. Human eval leaderboard. Okay. And so we can see Claude Sonnet is doing really well here. Human eval is an example of an LLM benchmark focused on coding tasks. You can search the web for leaderboards for a human eval or other leaderboards for specific benchmarks that align with your use case. Be aware of trade-offs among models and tools. V0 is specially trained for Next.js usage. Gemini has a super normal, has a unusually large context window. Other models will have various benefits and trade-offs. GPT-4o, I don't know if I want to name like the specific. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. I won't name a specific model because if I do, it's going to be obsolete in like 3 months. Like I like Claude and GPT-4o a lot these days, but it changes over time. Okay, so the general point is use a competent AI tool. So protect production from AI, use a competent AI tool, provide high quality instructions, utilize tests, types, comments, and documentation. And use automated checks and check your models with automated and manual verification. Cool. Unit tests. Tests can provide context to a language model, and they can also catch issues before going to prod. You can ask a language model to write tests as you go. Consider adding a GitHub action we can refer to the Latterly GitHub action. Or other CI/CD script runner to test, to run unit tests, type checks, and build stability before deploying to production. For documentation, providing, let's see. For documentation, I think runbooks are a good example of this. Keeping a run book of common issues and their resolution approach in your system is a helpful tool for both AI and human issue resolution. Okay. Take advantage of a staging environment and perform a smoke test, clicking through some common pages to catch even more issues which are sometimes missed by automated tests, by automated checks. High quality instructions, leverage prompt engineering techniques such as role-based prompting, leverage prompt engineering techniques such as role prompting and few shot prompting. Role prompting simply involves telling the language model to act as a particular kind of person. For example, act as an expert Next.js developer that is familiar with TypeScript. Providing your packages, your system dependencies and project README to a language model are extremely helpful. In React, for example, you might implement the language model will implement the same intent with different code depending on the version of React being used. Okay, and you can also have custom instructions. Keeping a Q&A doc or repo specific instructions with opinions and patterns common in your code base is a great idea. You can create a script to build an instruction file from source like this one, so that when you change dependencies your README file, and so on, you can easily recompile a single instruction file. For language model usage. Cool. What do you think, chat? How are we doing? So I think that will help with a bunch of vibe coding issues. You'll also need to know, you'll need to know when to understand when to create a fresh chat thread. When you complete model performance degrades as the context window is saturated, particularly when it gets full of information unrelated to your task at hand. One approach is to start a new conversation with every new work ticket. If model performance, it also might be helpful to start a new conversation if you begin working in a different area of the code base with different code files or idioms. It is also a good idea to start a fresh thread, possibly with a different model, if a current thread shows persistent confusion or failure to follow instructions. I think those are some good tips. All right, let's see what my video said and if I missed any of that. Don't overhype, whatever, don't vibe code to prod, don't vibe query to prod. I think we got it. Test, type, and document, yep. I'll say be tolerant of comments generated by the language model and consider adding comments for the language model to leverage, and I'll be specific, adding code comments for the language model to leverage whenever there is code which doesn't follow normal language or syntax standards. Language models are able to follow natural language better than, are able to follow code that are best able to comprehend code syntax which follows natural language, which resembles natural language. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if that didn't make sense. Yeah, make use of readable variable names function names, readable and accurate. Variable names, function names, file names, and so on. This benefits humans and robots. Cool. So I think we took care of the laws of vibe coding thing. I think 441 is a self-reference, yeah, and 429, let's see. Okay, we can do that separately. Seven core techniques: bug prevention, AI-driven debugging tips. Let's say AI specific. Let's say I don't know. AI-driven I'll just say vibe coding tips. Ladderly.io recommends AI-driven development, also called vibe coding, and AI-driven debugging. The process outlined in this section will promote high performance for AI workflows with many benefits to humans as well. This section includes tips for development, debugging, issue detection, and issue remediation. For both human-generated and generated code and AI output. Is AI generated code a way to, like a proper spelling? AI generated code. AI code generation, it looks like that's the more semantically acceptable expression. I think AI output makes sense. Well, we're not talking about like images and audio, so AI generated code. Human generated and AI generated code. So we don't use the dash. Human generated code. I don't know, it looks like they're both used. Trends, let's go to trends. Human generated code. Human generated code. Okay, let me delete this. Remove that. Neither one of them is really used. Human generated code. So we omit the dash typically for AI generated. That's the yellow bar here. Do that just because it looks consistent. Human generated code and AI generated code. Cool. So we'll commit this. This is docs vibe coding tips. What about code-based debugging? All right, now we get to this list of 11. Here are 11 debugging tips using code tools and techniques. 1. Remote internet environment logs, local printing, logging. Logging is a general term which includes client-side logs, server-side logs, logs in CI/CD, remote commercial loggers, right? Logging inside of, right, and so on. Logging is a general term which includes client-side logs, server-side logs, remote commercial loggers, and so on. Yep, breakpoints. You can use breakpoint keywords such as debugger in JavaScript or IDE-based breakpoint or IDE-based breakpoints. Check the documentation for your IDE. Or IDE-based, yeah, I'll just leave it like that. Visual breakpoints. So now this is IDE-based breakpoints are sometimes called visual breakpoints. Let me confirm that. JetBrains visual breakpoints. Did I just make that up? I think I might have made that up. Visual breakpoints. I guess it's something we say on the on like forums and stuff. It looks like the term is used in some places, but it doesn't bring up like official documentation. So let's just leave it like that. There's also like flamboyant elements or like element, yeah, flamboyant elements. I'll just make a note of that. There might be a better way of saying that. Attached to a running process. 11 years ago. Wow. Attached to a running process. Yeah, remote debugging in Chrome. PDB, yep, this is what I'm expecting. This is launching a wrapped process. This is my next tip. Here's how to do this with Chrome remote debugging. Logging breakpoints. Alerting, I guess, is like a different technique.
I wish I had
Elimination-based debugging. Alerting is like logging. Alerting in a web app is like logging, except you call the alert function, which causes a pop-up in the UI to present alerted text instead of logging to the console, which would be invisible unless you have developer tools open. Alerting in a web app is like logging, except you call the alert function, which causes a pop-up in the UI to present the alerted text. Which will be visible even without opening the browser's developer tools. Okay. Elimination-based debugging. You can replace. You can stub and mock or replace. You can stub, mock, comment or replace sections of code in order to isolate the root cause of a bug from a process flow perspective. For instance, if a closet, like let's see, what's an example of a parent-child relationship? If a fruit tree, component wraps an apple component, you can try commenting out the apple component or replacing it with a trivial hello world paragraph in order to see if the issue remains. If it does, the apple component can't be the root cause by process of elimination. Okay, so that's elimination-based debugging. Rubber ducking social consultation. Thinking of root causes involves an ideation process, which can be difficult for a single person, particularly in a large idea space, or when the troubleshooting developer is stressed or tired. Stressed, tired, or in an unfamiliar code region. Talking to a person, talking to almost anyone, can sometimes help trigger new thoughts, particularly if the person is technical. You can use a language model to help with this discussion and ideation process as well. Okay, so that's rubber ducking and social consultation. Test-driven debugging. We can use automated tests to quickly change inputs and view the resulting behavior in a component, which can give insight into potential cases that are more or less suspect. We can also make changes to tests in order to improve the feedback loop speed of elimination-based debugging. We can also make changes to tests in order to improve the feedback loop speed of elimination debugging instead of having to redeploy the application. Tests allow us to try many permutations by scripting, which can also help us cover more ground in a rapid fashion. Okay. Oh, lastly, tests like a high coverage test suite. When a test suite exists with high branch coverage, we can get even better insight into particular logical branches, which may be problematic. Okay, so that's test-driven debugging. Step back, reason through the larger variable names. Try to understand if there's a logical branch not nested.
Some lit audio to go with this, but I don't.
Implementing stronger types. Yep. Enhancing types. Like type checking. In a code base, which is, oh yeah. If a test suite, if a region of code is weakly tested, implementing new tests can reveal misalignment between expected and actual behavior. And similarly, if a region of code is weakly typed, implementing stronger types can reveal misalignment between expected and actual behavior. Yep. Data store interrogation, hypothesis testing. Do you have some bad DB records? Work backwards to find bad code. Log queries are a sub case of this pattern. Yeah. Data store interrogation. Look at your database or application state for just review. Okay. Then there is re-implementing from scratch. If working backwards, like instead of working backwards and navigating, sometimes it's easier to build a system or subsystem from scratch, get it working properly, then compare it to the system under error. Okay. Flamboyant elements. In a system that produces some output, you can work backwards from the output. You can work backwards from the final output provider and provide a stub, ignoring all prior code. You can iteratively push this substitution code backwards to the, So this is kind of like, this is like elimination-based debugging. This is a kind of elimination-based debugging. A special case of elimination. Yeah, this is a special case of elimination-based debugging. This is a special case of elimination-based debugging, which works especially well for rendered outputs, like a web page or game or view in a game or visual view. Yeah, actually in an audio thing as well. This is a special case of elimination-based debugging, which works especially well for rendered media, like web pages, games, and audio output. Work backwards from the final rendering code and substitute in a particularly obvious element, such as a vibrant, like a large and vibrant visual element, or a loud and easily detected noise in the case of audio media, audio production. Push the element backwards in the rendering logic, one function at a time. When the obvious element is eliminated, this implies the logic is not processing forward. This may imply the last function the last functional step between the current location and the final render. This may imply an issue in the last functional step between the current location and the final render. Cool. Does that make sense? So we've got our 11 tips here. Review your, that's a tab. Cool. Looks like my formatting is off somehow. Okay. Did that fix it? I don't know. Let's preview. Open preview. I think it looks fine. One, 1, 2. In cases where there's only one sub item, I can flatten these breakpoints. Logging and alerting, breakpoints, in-memory debugging, launching a wrapped process, elimination-based debugging, substitution, rubber ducking, and social consultation. And then the last 3 can all be flattened. Cool. Code-based debugging. Commercial patterns. All right. These patterns are refinements of patterns mentioned previous, like these patterns overlap with previously mentioned categories, but they are particularly common in commercial settings, and they have special names. Health checks. These are functions that run periodically to verify the integrity of systems. They may be conducted on a batch, as part of a batch process, or an uptime verification process like a Kubernetes pod. Batch process, streaming process, by polling, or by polling. Kubernetes health checks. This includes liveliness, readiness. This includes processes like Kubernetes, liveliness, and readiness probes. Okay, as a best practice, failing health checks are often paired with runbooks. Enterprise documentation. Sometimes, like knowledge stores, like an enterprise Confluence or similar tool, or a similar tool may contain troubleshooting documentation. Sometimes these are outright equivalent to a runbook, though that term may not be used. May not be used. If your company has an AI knowledge store or Omni search tool, AI knowledge store like Glean, prefer that over one-by-one inspection of disparate knowledge stores. Chat tools. Searching a tool like Enterprise Slack across channels often reveals useful information or human contacts. Keep an eye out for incident creation material in case you are dealing with a potentially potentially high urgency or high criticality issue, which may how do I say that? Which your company may want turned into a formal incident. Yeah, like PagerDuty. Besides system logs, your company may have a commercial logger like Sumo Logic. Like Datadog. Do they have a space in there? Is it Data Space Dog? It's all one word. Oh, and they lowercase the second D. Datadog. Okay. Commercial logging and correlation IDs. Besides system logs, your company may have a commercial logger like Datadog, which may help track requests across layers, across various services, often correlated by a special ID called a correlation ID. Commercial logs, health checks, like observability tools, like what? Isn't Datadog also telemetry? Splunk, good old Splunk. Like Sentry. They can often both be used for the same thing. Like, why do we have loggers that are different than telemetry? Sometimes a commercial, like telemetry, is request monitoring, right? Isn't it just request monitoring? How do people define telemetry? It's just measures of various data. Some companies have like commercial loggers, often capture telemetry data, but many companies will have a distinct tool for this. These tools may aid in the creation of dashboards, providing a place you can visit to easily see uptime, system health, anomalous requests, okay, what is this? Okay, great. On-call alerts. Failing health checks, like on-call alerts. On-call alerts can be triggered for all sorts of reasons, such as failing health checks, or they can be triggered by monitors set up in a telemetry tool. As a best practice, an on-call alert should be paired with recommended remediation activities. One, two, three, four. The common tool for this would be PagerDuty. Okay, so we got health checks, commercial logging, correlation IDs, observability, telemetry, on-call alerts, enterprise documentation. Keep an eye out for incident creation material in case you're dealing with a potentially high urgency or high criticality issue which your company may want turned into a formal incident. Chat tools. Browsing messages and channels in a tool like an enterprise. Slack often reveals useful information or human contacts. What else? Okay, so I think those are a bunch of them. Let me quickly look at the transcript here. So, leveraging social resources. Oof. Yeah, there's also just like being familiar with, like org charts. Guess and check. So here you would be guessing and checking the knowledge store as opposed to the implementation. But guess and check is a key search strategy. Do I mention that? I think I do. Yeah. Enterprise, like org charts and enterprise social tools. Can often yield relevant human contacts, you might be aware of a component name. Then a team may be named off of that component. You can also inspect repository contributions and code owner files for the component under investigation. You might be aware of a component name, then a team may be named off that component, and a tool like an org chart might help you identify individual subject matter experts to assist with remediation of an issue in the related component. You can also inspect repository contributions and code owner files for the component under investigation. You can also look at editor name, like editor name for documentation, for document revisions in knowledge store entries related to the component under investigation. Okay. Coding interview debugging. Okay. We've covered many strategies, but most are not relevant in an interviewing context. In general, try to use print and log statements in the interview. In an interview, do this. In an interview, try to avoid these. Try to avoid other techniques, I will, yeah. In an interview, let's just have the do list. In an interview, prefer these techniques. Step through the code with a mental debugger first. Yeah, that's a good call out. In an interview, prefer these techniques. 1, write out pseudocode ahead of time. Step through, like if you encounter an issue, try simply reading through the code line by line or simulating a test case with a mental debugger instead before writing any code. Good call out. If you need to write code, reach for a simple console, for a simple logger. In rare cases, if it may be worth quickly writing a test case. If you are confident, you can quickly write it down. I think that's pretty much it, right? Like these are the only things that I really think you should. Oh, in UI, for front-end development in particular, it is fine to use an alert call or visual element highlighting as appropriate. Use assertions if you can for sanity checks. Let's see. Chloe GPT on Twitch. Hey, Chloe. How do I feel about writing assertion lines? I don't feel bad about that. Yeah, that seems like a fine technique. I don't think that I use that very often, but it seems fine. If you need to write code, a simple logger. If you need to write code, like, let's see. Using a simple logger is typically your best. If you need to write code, just sounds weird. If you need to write code. Does that make sense? I feel like this is worded poorly. If you need to write code, like we're in an interview, you're always going to be writing code. When writing code, yeah, when writing code. So what's the issue here? The issue here would be that I'm stepping through line by line, and it's hard for me to mentally understand what the value should be. If you step through and find mental debugging difficult, you can proceed to write some light code. A simple logger is typically your best tool in this case. And then now the call out from sudo please. Sometimes an assertion style expression can be a quick way to verify the code is working as expected up to a certain point. Did I capture that? I think I got that. Let me know. Alternatively, sometimes, yeah. In rare cases, it may be worth quickly writing a test case. If you're confident, you can quickly write. If you're confident, you can quickly write it down. For front-end development, so I think that's pretty much all of the strategies I want to actually suggest. Chloe GPT says, can we discuss what might be good for design interviews sometime? Yeah, definitely. I won't be doing that today, but sometime we can talk about design interviews. I assume you mean system design interviews and not like UX, like designer, the job family of design. We can definitely cover system design sometime. I think it's in the backlog. Let me check. So I think we're done with this, done with this, done with this. I'll pull up the issues. Yeah. So right here, sys design and behavioral kata. That's a weird word that I used kata there. But I really need to do, yeah, this better interview prep for system design. Need to work on that stuff for sure. You can also join the Discord for free. I don't know if you noticed the Discord link, so you can go Laterally Community Discord. And we can also just chat offline. That's probably going to be a way to get you quicker information because getting through the backlog can take a while, right? But if you just join the Discord, we can chat about it. I definitely have advice. If you want to, you can browse the GitHub issues. And a bunch of the advice is already written in various places. Sudo, please. I am in too many Discords. Amen. Me too. Hey, I think this has turned out pretty well. Thank you so much for being here. So this is going to be docs. What did we just do in this last commit? Commercial patterns and coding interview debugging. And thanks for your help. Thanks for the call out with the assertion there. Oh, sometimes is misspelled. Sometimes. So if you want to, I don't know, are we connected on LinkedIn? I'm sorry, I don't know through your kick name. I don't know who you are. But if you want to send me your name, I'm happy to give you a shout out on social media for the help. So thanks to sudo please for the assertion style tip right here. Really good one. Sorry, I didn't find a Discord even on social home. Yeah, no problem. I'll do it one more time. So you go to laterally.io. Oops, wrong place. Laterally.io, that's the website in front of us. And it's under the community dropdown. You can also find it on my YouTube channel in the YouTube video description. I guess it's not on the Twitch video for some reason. Sorry about that. So anyway, thanks so much for being here. And that new blog article will be shipping to prod. Oh, X handle is Byte Tweets. Yeah, I'll give you a shout out. Thank you so much. The new blog article will be shipped to